We're very organized. How is he so organized?
What really attracted you with Pennington and what we had to offer?
When you represent yourself as, this is my company, I'm here to take care of you, let's do this together. That sells itself.
Mark, how are we doing today?
Doing good, Brian. Doing good.
I'm doing awesome. Look like you're being overworked over there. You working too hard?
No, it's this is busy season. I think 2023 has been work twice as hard for half the money year. So that's what we got going on in our finance group.
Okay. Well, clearly your name is Brian, of course, with Pennington Consulting Group. By the way, absolutely, thank you so much for taking the time to help me with this review. Start off briefly, telling us a little bit about yourself. What exactly do you do?
So I'm in mortgage banking, in basically trading mortgage-backed securities, and specifically in the non-QM space.
So you don't deal directly with consumer. You're on the wholesale side, right?
So past the wholesale side, so we're buying pools of loans from originators, and we're selling them in the marketplace.
You guys are not even servicing them, right?
We are servicing. So we're basically it's considered a conduit. So everyone who goes out and gets a mortgage loan, they probably get it from a mortgage bank. Those mortgage banks have to sell loans, and so we're buyers of those end loans and pool them in whole loan trades or securities.
Really cool, because I mean, clearly what the hell's going on in the market right now has a direct impact with interest rates and house prices. I mean, what is? I would love kind of just your opinion, if you can just share with the audience. What is your opinion on the future from the inside of somebody that buys a pool of mortgages? I mean, what can you tell us? Some of us on the sidelines waiting to buy a house. I mean, what the hell is really going on?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's above my pay grade. So I don't know the answer to the future question. I think whenever rates are expected, I think the Fed just met today, and so one of their they do these dot plots, right? And they say, here's what's most likely going to happen. And so they've laid out 3 rate cuts in 2024. And so that does mean most likely there will be Fed rate cuts, which, for the most part, I think the loans that are being done today are probably to people who have to get a house, right? It's not like you're wanting to get a house, you prefer to wait. And so most of the loans being done today are to investors or to someone who has to get a loan for whatever reason, whether it's cashing out or buying a house. They're doing it for a specific reason. And so as rates come down, that opens up affordability, and now people want to go out and buy a house or trade their house in for something else. It takes a lot for someone to leave their 3% rate today and sell their home to get a new home, right? And so once the Fed lowers some rates next year, I think you'll see more of that than you did this year.
You speak with so much certainty. Once they lower the rate next year, you are certain that is basically the trajectory they're going on?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's just, on today's call, that's what they alluded to, lower to 3 rate moves next year, and they'll all be lower. And so that's from the Fed. And so that's good news. That's something that we haven't heard all this year.
I've always been curious, like whenever you're buying a pool of mortgage-backed securities, I mean, are you just dealing with a specific product, like I only want FHA stuff or I only want conventional stuff? Or can you look at a pool and be like, well, I don't want that one, so we're going to move that out? Like, how do you guys do it?
Yeah, so it's called kind of carving out. So there's a huge market, right? There's probably, 50 buyers and probably 1,000 sellers, right, of these loans. And so they are in all pools. They're from agency, Fannie, Freddie, they're called conventional paper, FHA, VA, right, government paper. And then you have, what's known as non-agency. So maybe it's jumbo loans outside of Fannie loan limits. Then you have non-QM loans, maybe investor loans or bank statement loans. And then you have the whole private lending community that does, fix and flip and, any kind of short-term bridge loans or maybe multifamily loans. And so all of those loans on a daily basis get, packaged up and put out for a bid.
I think I'm losing you. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know what the hell happened. I hope we got all of that. I think we're having like some internet issues, but that's pretty cool, man. So how long have you been doing that?
So probably about 21 years. So yeah, a great high market thing. And then from my vantage point, kind of coming back to your your program. So I work with quite a few mortgage bankers, right? There's probably, I would say, maybe about 1,000 in the United States, right? And so those 1,000, they each have, between 50 and 200 individual loan officers, or maybe different brokers. And so what's been happening is, through buying these loans, I get a pretty good vantage point on what the individual, we call them like an originator, somebody who's actually out there speaking with borrowers, what they've gone through this year. And it's, went from in 2020 and 2021, you were an order taker. You sat down at your desk and just took orders and said, I will take your loan and make a bunch of money. Thank you very much. To there were more people than there were loans this last year, which makes it difficult, because now you want to go do a loan. It's either you or me, Brian. Either you're getting that loan or I'm getting that loan. And one of us is not going to get the loan and thus not get paid. And so it's been a very difficult year this last year. And so, a lot of, especially, this is in the mortgage space, right? And so, a lot of guys have focused on different areas of mortgage to try to make a living. And I think, between non-QM, maybe private lending is new for a lot of these people. And so they're trying to figure out, where do you go with a financial background to go get someone who needs money and be able to provide a service and get them the money they need, so that you can then in turn, operate a business, whether you're a loan officer or a mortgage bank. And so everyone's trying to figure that out now, Brian. It's no one's exempt. Everyone who wants to stay in, any kind of lending has to figure that out and figure it out quick.
Yeah. This brings me back to how kind of it was in 2008, because, when you got to that point where you had so many different realtors, so many different mortgage loan officers, and the market kind of, just crashed all of a sudden. You're the taxi driver and everybody was doing mortgages. But it opened up, I see a huge opportunity in it, as I've also shared with you, to some of this, me personally, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to try to see if I can train some of these loan officers transition into the business side of it. But I remember back in 2008, I took a huge advantage of the market crash by taking advantage of the FHA streamlined loan refi, where they have, the no appraisal needed rate refinance. So I did a bunch of those kind of things. But so I say that to say that for me, I see a huge opportunity in the marketplace with what's going on right now. Some events like this kind of shake off the weak loan officers, if I may say. They can't really survive the market, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know how it's affecting some of the industries that are connected, because we're not just talking about loan officers and realtors. We're talking about appraisers. We're talking about inspectors. We're talking about surveyors. They're also losing business as well. What are your thoughts, and what have you seen on that side of the business, the third parties that are affected by this?
Yeah, it's a whole group that suck, right? For every loan that gets done, right, a borrower borrows money, part of the interest and fees go to that loan. That's the only place that money comes from in the industry, right? Is somebody borrowing money and the associated interest rate and fees that feed the industry. Well, for every one loan, you have a loan officer that gets paid. You have an underwriter that's get paid. You get a processor who processes a loan, the appraiser, right? The title company. Right. And so the credit report people. And then the tech people who has a solution to solve it all. And so there's a whole ecosystem, right? That feeds off of that one loan being done. And everyone wants to take their piece from that loan. And so when there's 5 loans, right, enough for everyone, this is great. When there's one loan, now there's going to be people that can't make it, right? And so either they go find out a new game to play, right? And maybe that new game is not mortgage. Maybe it's like, you talk about, business credit cards, or, hey, how do I get, personal loan or business loan, or, you branch out and you learn something new, which is hard, right? Because now you have to go do something you're not used to. Or you get better at what you do, right? You beat the other guy, you do it better, or you do have, you say better customer service, but what does that mean? I don't know. You go out and you hustle harder and work, find more people, take care of your people better, whatever you do. But yeah, it's you gotta change, right? Which is hard. And you gotta have someone that teaches you how to change, right? If you can't just, unless you go do a bunch of research, but you could do research for the next 6 months and then you're not doing loans, you're doing research.
Exactly, exactly. So a little bit to come back full circle. How did we meet? If you can kind of share with the audience, how do we meet? How did we get here? How did you get into my database?
So I bought a Amazon store, and they said, "Hey, here's the Amazon store." Thought it'd be better than buying a dumb toy. So I bought an Amazon store, and they said, "Oh, well, now you need to put a bunch of money in your Amazon." So I said, "Oh, I'm going to go need some money," and said, "Call Pennington Consultants." So I said, "All right." So I called you and found out, we're I thought you were just, there to get kind of a credit card or something. And so as you spoke, I kind of picked up that, wow, this guy not only knows credit cards, but you understand the lending business, right? And so we started talking and shared our backgrounds a little bit, and then kind of came up with some some ideas. Maybe we could work together with my clients and your clients, or who knows what, but to collaborate. And so we became friends and figured out how to do some business together.
I think we've been in business, for over a year now. What can you tell us about your experience so far, with Pennington?
Dude,
yeah,
I think it's great.
Go ahead.
I think I picked up very quick, right? We're both busy. So to pick up the phone every 5 minutes and call you and say, hey, Brian, I got a question, that usually doesn't work well, right, for anyone. And so I picked up early on that you're very organized, right? And so I was like, how is he so organized? And I realized you have other people helping you, right? And so you have, assistants, every email comes back very professional, very quick, right? Everything gets handled, there's a lot of paperwork going back and forth, I think, on a few things. And so I like that you employed other people to do repetitive, easy tasks. And then if there was something, that required some knowledge or skills, we'd get on a call. And so I like the way you operate versus taking your resources to go through and let's organize the PDF into different pages, right? We don't need to be doing that. That's, you have your team to do that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, tell us a little bit about, the team and the application process, but I think you just handled it on how we handle our application process here at Pennington. Because, in this industry, I say, and even the brokers sometimes that I teach, your organization skills are up there like almost 30 to 50% of the job. It's just being organized, because what you're doing is just trading documents back and forth with, funding institutions, and, knowing what these documents are, and just, it all comes down to just being organized, so it's something that I speak very highly with the team and everybody that, that works under me.
I was going to say 50% is way off. I think it's 90%. We say we're in finance, right? Or we say we're in mortgage, or you say you're fine. We are not finance people. We are process. We are kings of process, right? If you can take information from someone, get it clearly, and here's the important part, and get it complete, right? How do you get complete information? Say, well, I sent you page 1 of my credit report, Brian. Can you please give me a loan? You say, I'm going to need all the pages of your credit report, right? And so you learn the skill of getting organized to move papers through a process, right? It's not like we're at the DMV, but it's sometimes harder than the DMV. It makes no sense sometimes, but you have to follow a process. And so if you can wrap your head around and be a good business process person, you really win the finance game, right? You're completing the task that it's hard for others to do.
That's a really good point. You say 90%. Okay, good. So now, in your years, I mean, clearly in the what you do, you deal with a lot of people in the industry. What really attracted you, in addition to our process and, the organization, but, why work with me? After all the people that you've dealt with, because, you seem like the type that, you shop around. You want to talk to a few different companies, understand their vision, understand their process, and what they do. What really attracted you with Pennington and what we had to offer?
Yeah, so one is you're not a company. So, a lot of people, I sensed very early that you were the CEO and you took responsibility for your company, right? So most people you work with, very quickly you go, hey, this is the way our company does it. They're doing it for their company and they want to get paid, right? But they have no control or take responsibility for what they do. And so I sensed very early on that you owned your company and you own the experience, right? And so just knowing that, I go, I'm all in, because I know that there's no, hey, let me talk to my boss, he said no stuff, right? And so when you represent yourself as, this is my company, I'm here take care of you. Let's do this together. That sells itself, right? Versus, hey, I'm going to send you a contract and sign it, and we'll see what we can do. That's a very different conversation. So,
I would say it's part of our motto with Pennington that our goal is to help you reach your goal. Because there's numerous different products that we offer. And some of these things, especially when it comes to real estate, there's a million and one things that need to be done before we get to closing. And there's, you're in there, you look at spreadsheets and you're looking at assets, but there's even a little bit of counseling involved with some of the clients that I deal with. Some of them are frustrated with the process. I got a lady right now, we're doing an SBA loan, and an SBA loan is just, we're going on 6 months, and she's a bit frustrated, but it's just one of those things that we're almost at the finish line, and you have to be there to encourage them and walk them through it. So there's a little bit of personal touch that I do intentionally put into the process to make sure that the people are, I handhold them. And I noticed, especially when it comes to this business lending field, most business owners, they really don't have just a guy to help them through the process. Somebody really, we call it coaches or whatever it is, but with real estate, you have your realtor, with even with financing side of real estate, you have your loan originator. But from a business standpoint, it used to be your banker. They used to say, go talk to your banker. But these bankers, they just type information into the computer and, you will receive a letter in the mail. We don't, so that whole attachment has kind of been gone. So, I think it's a very important field, in my opinion, that most business owners really need somebody that can really stand by their side and guide them through it.
Yeah, and like you said, you mentioned being someone's counselor or help, right? Just being able to talk through and stay on track to things, right? Because I think a lot of people, they go down rabbit holes very quickly of saying, I want this, I have this, my building isn't up to code in this one doorway, whatever. You go, no, let's start here. Do you own the building, right? And just yes or no, very simple, start big, and then you narrow down to a solution for you, right? But it takes someone that's not, I don't know, I guess just knows what's important versus not important in any transaction or in your asset or in your credit or in your income, to be able to sit down and calmly say, look, here are the important things, here are things that are not important, right?
Okay. I don't want to take too much of your time, of course. I know you're busy. You got a bunch of spreadsheets you got to look at, buy some more houses out there. So from a scale of 0 to 10, how would you recommend our service?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, you guys, your programs, your services, you guys, Brian, you do a very good job, and I love you take ownership and pride in what you do. So great job. Keep it up.
Okay. Really appreciate it, man. I appreciate your support. And one thing I'll tell the audience is when I thought about Broker Solutions Academy, I called you, and I remember me sharing with you about what I was doing, because I've worked with you as a client with Pennington Consulting Group, but you gave me some really good pointers, and I want to appreciate you for that. Even when it was just an idea, you remember when I talked to you and you handed, you gave me some of your time, and I think I spoke even with some of your partners, because the people that I'm trying to target are people that you interact with in your field. So I appreciate you for sharing your insight and all the guidance that led me to where I am today. Thank you so much.
No, you're doing a good job, dude. So yeah, out here for me anything, Brian.
Hey, thank you so much for your time today, man. I'll talk to you soon. Absolutely.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
You have a good one. So another great review today. I appreciate you for joining me today. Make sure to like, subscribe, link in the description if you're interested in getting some more information about our course or our funding program. Thank you for joining us today on this video, and I'll see you on our next video.